Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ajoe21love, back again with episode number 87 of Sports Over Topics. Bunch to go over today on the podcast. NFL honors, the Super Bowl on Sunday, UFC 271, and NBA trade day, and the fallback on that, but bunch to go over today, guys. So, hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you want to see more of Sports Over Topics, click that subscribe over in the corner. Find more videos on the homepage where I cover these sports topics and news and coverage on the channel, as well as like the like button in the other corner as well. But nonetheless, thank you. So, NFL honors, and I won't go too much into it, but the award show of the NFL, where it recognizes the awards of players of the previous season, um, is always a good watch. A good watch. You know, there's always going to be people that are going to argue, that guy should have won, that guy should have won, this or that. But we didn't have any controversial, really, awards for NFL honors. TJ Watt sort of getting presented Defensive Player of the Year from his brother JJ, who has won the award 3 times. Um, I mean, 22 sacks. I still think he broke the record um, of Michael Strahan, but nonetheless, a fantastic year from TJ. Well deserved. And I think he should have won last year, but there's no debate. I mean, there is some debate. You know, Parsons had a good year, Donald had a good year, but TJ Watt, well deserved. Jamar Chase won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think, you know, I love Mac Jones. Um, what he did for the Patriots in his rookie year is good. It looked like for a few weeks because Jamar Chase got off to a grand start and then he kind of fizzled out in the middle of the year, but then kicked it up again at the end of the season. So well deserved for Chase. Um, Good for him. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow. Hit his quarterback, well deserved. Um, Although I was a bit disappointed that they only showed Dak and Joe Burrow. I mean, Nick Bosa had a great season and should have gotten some votes in. I mean, yes, not everyone can win the award, but you at least like to see those who deserve some votes get some votes. Now, Michael Parsons, excuse me, Micah Parsons won Defensive Rookie of the Year unanimously. Um, well deserved. Great year for the Cowboys, you know. But I do think, again, I think Surtain, um, Aziz Ojulari for the Giants, and Owe for the Ravens should have gotten some cracks or some. I mean, it's this guy or that guy, so, but I do want to shed some light on those rookies that had very good years in their own right. And plus, Gregory Rousseau, along with Jalen Phillips as well. Those two guys had heck of years as well. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Phillips breaking the rookie record for the Dolphins in sacks. I mean, that's just crazy. But yeah, that's how it goes. Um, Offense player of the year, Cooper Kupp. You know, no surprise for me. Deebo Samuel. Again, if Kupp did not have that spectacular year, I would say Deebo Samuel really, but you know, very good. And MVP, you know, Aaron Rodgers back to back MVPs. I would have thought that with Brady retiring, maybe that may slid the slide the favor towards him, on his way out, you know, him receiving that award. Yeah. But still, Aaron Rodgers, hell of a year, you know, crazy, but obviously wasn't the end they had hoped for. But still another very good year for Aaron Rodgers. And then Walter Payne Man of the Year award, which is funny because, it's a great award. Uh, Whoever wins it, it's always good to see because what they've done, what they're doing, excuse me, for their community, and it's just always a blessing to see and great to see. But it was interesting seeing Andrew Whitworth win the award because you don't usually see the Walter Payton Man of the Year play in the Super Bowl. You don't usually see that, but nonetheless, it was great to see for Whitworth. And yeah, four players from the Super Bowl won awards from at Alpha Honor. So fun to see the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame class for this year. Well deserved. Sam Mills, Brian Young, Richard Seymour, Dick Vermeil. Um, yeah, just many great players, former players, and former coaches. Cliff Branch, but I was a little surprised that we did not see Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, and DeMarcus Ware getting first ballot. That's what I will say because Devin Hester, the best returner ever in the NFL. You know, LaMarcus Ware, had a big impact on both the Cowboys and the Broncos. And Andre Johnson, you know, had a phenomenal career with the Texans, that organization, you know, but, it's out of your hands. So that was just all my criticism on the F honors. Oh, I took more time than I thought it would, but yeah, just guessing, but yeah. Then we go to the F honors, or excuse me, not the F honors, but go from the F honors to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl 56. You know, Rams beat the Bengals 23-20. You know, the Rams, you could have looked at it from many different ways, and obviously, depending on who you are, who you root for, um, you're obviously going to have a different opinion. But, you know, first talking about the game. So, it was a slow game to start. Both teams have great firepower on offense. Both have very good defenses. Both don't want to blink, don't want to make a big mistake. And that was kind of what we saw, but over time, after the Bengals turnover on downs near midfield, the Rams only need a few plays, and then OBJ connects from Matthew Stafford for the first touchdown of the game, and Rams drew first blood. But the Bengals fired back with a good drive themselves, kicking a field goal. But now, after the first touchdown to Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl MVP, who had two, it was a little worrisome that the game may get out of hand. Because, and it's interesting, the extra point after the Cooper Kupp touchdown, Johnny Hecker, Hall of Fame punter, All Pro, or has been one of the best punters the last few years. He fumbled the extra point, and they had to try and make something out of nothing, and ultimately failed. And it was a 10-point lead, and that really kicked into play the more the game went on. Just those missed opportunities came into play, and what do you know? So, finally, the Rams, or excuse me, the Bengals connect Joe Mixon with trickery because he knew with these two coaches that we would have seen some form of trickery. And Joe Mixon threw a touchdown to T. Higgins in the back of the end zone, which set up 13-10 game, and then it looked like the Rams were just going to, fire back and really take control of this game. And then Matthew Stafford throws, well, OBJ went out with a torn ACL, which, is really disgruntled to see because the way he came back this season after tearing it last year and what he has brought to the Rams since coming over from Cleveland is just sad to see. But tore his ACL in the second quarter, and it really put a funk to the Rams offense after. And Stafford threw a pick, and the Bengals got momentum going into half, getting the ball to start the second half, and then one play action to T. Higgins. It was originally touted as Jalen Ramsey fell, but when you see the replay, now, bang bang, this was really when, because the story of the refs all season has been inconsistency when throwing flags and calling penalties. And this game, again, inconsistency when it came to the flags. The first one, seems here, Jalen Ramsey got swiped, pulling down. It didn't look like much, but he got swiped down with his face mask, and which caused him to fall and allowed T. Higgins to run in for a long touchdown to give the Bengals the lead. And, it was that play when you thought, okay, perhaps the officials are going to let them play. That after the T. Higgins long touchdown, that, okay, they're going to just let them play. And then Bengals get another good drive, kick field goal, and then finally, so it's 20-16 late in the fourth. And, no OBJ, Tyler Higbee out with MCL sprain that he suffered against San Fran. And then Kendall Blanton, his backup, who did really well against San Francisco when Higbee went out, was out as well. So you're without two of your top weapons and a backup. So pretty much it was down to Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Bryson Hopkins, who relatively hadn't played pretty much all season. He came up with some good catches down the stretch in the game. But I mean, kind of crippled, but when it came down to it, the final drive, Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp, because you could already envision the storyline or the headlines with a loss. Because he can't win when to some outside sources when it comes to game. So, because if the Rams lost, it'd be all about Stafford. But, when it came down to it, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, four grabs, 37 yards on the final drive. And then the game-winning touchdown, just to fade up to Cooper Kupp, gets it. And then just like that, it's 23-20. But inside the red zone, there was a few questionable calls, which I know many people are going to be talking about for days upon days, because after that miss flag for that T. Higgins touchdown on Jalen Ramsey, you thought, okay, no flags. And then down at the end, we have a few flags that prolong the Rams drive and they get the game-winning touchdown. I mean, it just personifies the inconsistency with the refs all season. It's just the way it's been. I mean, from Jerome Boger missing that call, which cost their team the chance to coach any more playoff games, in the Super Bowl, it just now I can understand one of the flags. The other one I was not too keen with, although I did pick the Rams. So I know that the officiating for the NFL has been a mess. A mess pretty much all season. I mean, there's many different focal points this season you could go to, and it's just unfortunate. But happy for the Rams. If you're a football fan, it's hard to not be happy for Matthew Stafford. I mean, 12 years in Detroit, you know, had not won a playoff game. 12 years there, all the talent, you know, can make a lot of the throws, a lot of comeback wins. But, being in Detroit, coming to LA, and, with this whole team around them, the best team he's been on. And Cooper Kupp having arguably the greatest season you've seen out of a wide receiver. Part of that you can attribute to the stellar part of Matthew Stafford being there. And just great to see, not only for Stafford, but that great season of Kupp to be recognized with a ring. Aaron Donald, a shoo-in Hall of Famer. Shoo-in Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive players ever. And now he has it all. He has double-digit sack seasons. He has a ring. I know there was a little hush from Rodney Harrison and Michelle Tafoya during the game that Aaron Donald may walk away. And I understand that, you know, there's two sides to the sports world. Your sports life and your family life. And, Tom Brady retired, and part of that being his family life. So, you know, I don't see Donald walking away, but, strange things have happened. But no matter when he decides to call it quits, whether it's this year or 5 years from now, Aaron Donald will get a gold jacket. He has a ring, he has a lot of sacks, and he will get a gold jacket no matter how much time he takes. But I don't see with that team he has around him, he retires. And also, gotta be happy for Jalen Ramsey, one of the best corners in the league. Eric Will, I mean, one of the under the radar stories of the Super Bowl. Eric Will coming back after 2 years, 2 seasons being off, and to come back and to make the impact he was able to make in the playoffs. Now, credit, he didn't really play much against Arizona, but the last 3 games against Tampa Bay, against San Francisco, against Cincinnati, I mean, it's really a testament to, stay in shape, because you never know when you're going to get that call. And now Eric Weddle is a Super Bowl champion. Great to see. And, Leonard Floyd, former Bear, great to see. Von Miller, I know he didn't want to leave Denver, but ultimately it ends with a Super Bowl title. And he has one with Denver and now one with LA. So 2 rings. Andrew Whitworth, Walter Payne Man of the Year. If this is, because he's 40 years old, credit, he's still one of the best left tackles in the league, but he's 40. If this is the end of it for Whitworth, what a way to go out. Winning Walter Payne Man of the Year award on Thursday, and then Sunday night you win the Super Bowl. It's just not much better of a few day stretch than that. Yeah, just all the players. I mentioned for Rams. Now, the Bengals side. Because unfortunately there's a winner and there's a loser. The Bengals, I know they'll be disappointed, the fans will be disappointed, but the Bengals and Joe Burrow have nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. They triumphed in one of the best divisions football, the AFC North, winning it. Now credit the Ravens fell short, and Big Ben, his final season, the Browns underperformed, but with that talent, with Joe Burrow, a new star was born in these playoffs. A new star was Joe Burrow. And Jamar Chase, I think we can definitely put it to rest that the Bengals should have taken Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase. The type of season he had, the rookie season he had, just credit. And that defense, because I heard some people say that the Bengals were lucky to be here, and that could not be. They earned their stripes to be in the Super Bowl, and they just came up short um, by 3 points. They beat Kansas City twice in the span of a month. Beat Kansas City twice. Beat the Raiders, who were a great story this past season. The top seed Titans, who were my pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, but credit to the Bengals and Joe Burrow. I know they didn't want to be runners up, but it was a hell of a season for Joe Burrow. And that defense played their tails off. Played their tails off. I think it's pretty simple where they go in this offseason when it comes to the Bengals. O-line, because we saw it last year. Patrick Mahomes got harassed in the Super Bowl against Bucks. And what did the Chiefs do? Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Orlando Brown, Joe Tooney. Just put a boatload of assets into that O-line. And credit. They didn't make the Super Bowl, but I think you can arguably say that O-line felt better this year for the Chiefs. Now, can they do that with the Bengals this year? Going in the next? We'll see. But I think that's the plan. Also, Jesse Bates, who got a pick, deserves to get paid as well. Should get paid, should get that back, and he will. Those are two priorities for Cincinnati. And I think because it's so early to tell if both teams will be back next year, but the Bengals have a bright future. They have a bright future. And, it's going to be tough, obviously, in the AFC with Baltimore, with Buffalo, with Los Angeles, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Titans, the Colts. It's going to be tough, but For the Bengals fans that are hanging their heads low, you should hang your heads up high, knowing the future is very, very bright in the jungle. So now UFC 271 was a stellar affair on Saturday night, headlined by Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender, who is amazing, versus Robert Whitaker, the Reaper, who can always put you out, the former champion. The rematch was a solid second round, but definitely it wasn't as easy for Adesanya the second time around, but managed to get done. And he only had a highly contested bout, and Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla, versus Derek Brunson, two seasoned vets in the top 10 of the middleweight division, trying to get closer to a crack at the middleweight strap. Ultimately, it was Jared Cannonier putting out the lights on Brunson. So that was a stellar finish with the elbows and knocking down Cannonier, although Brunson had quality first round with the wrestling and putting it to Cannonier, but ultimately Cannonier pulled away. The co-main event, though, I think was the shocker, and just wow. Wow, wow. But in the co-main event, Derek Lewis faced the the Black Beast versus Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa, the Samoan of Australia. And boy, did this was really the breakout and coming out party for Tai Tuivasa. The biggest win of his career. I mean, you knew this was going to be exciting and it would come up with a fabulous finish, but still, I didn't think it would turn out like that. In which Tuivasa face planted Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis was having success during the fight. He took down Ty a few times, landed some strikes from the top. A little unconventional from what they spoke about the other day with swing and bang, but they did swing. They got their fair share of swinging, I should say. But Ty's shots stung, hit some shots over the top, hit some close elbows. Again, those elbows. Those elbows can be deadly. And ultimately, another elbow in the clinch, which dropped Derek Lewis, and another shoey was well deserved for Tuivasa. As long as he stays healthy and watches the shoes he drinks out of. That's my only complaint. Apparently, Dana White took his shoey as well. after just hilarious thing to see. But great win for Tuivasa, who was, I believe, ranked number 11, being number 3. Derek Lewis should definitely vault him in the top 5, perhaps top 6. I mean, geez, gonna be interesting. Ultimately, though, some of the big news coming out from the week was the big trades at the trade deadline for the NBA. And boy, there was some. You know, you we always hear rumors and we always hear what should happen and what ultimately see what will happen. And when you see something that escalated and what happened, you kind of can't believe it, but at the same time, you can. In which James Harden, the biggest trade at the trade deadline, James Harden, Seth Curry, and 2 draft picks going from Brooklyn or excuse me. So James Harden going to Philly, Seth Curry going to Brooklyn, and 2 draft picks. It was mixing, but and Ben Simmons going from Philly, the disgruntled Ben Simmons, you know, we've heard about the relationship between Simmons, the 76ers, and Embiid the last couple of years, but nothing has really escalated in which till now or till last week. And now Ben Simmons is a Brooklyn Net along with Seth Curry. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets were teetering, pretty much teetering. You know, Kyrie only playing in road games, Kevin Durant out for at least a month with his MCL injury. They had to do something to stay in through it while try to stay the course until Kevin Durant comes back. But this move may have definitely done enough to buy them some time because while the big news is James Harden and Ben Simmons, Seth Curry is vastly underrated. Seth Curry. Now, obviously, his brother Steph is the best shooter of all time. You know, multiple time champion. You know, can produce headaches for any defense. But Seth Curry, you know, with his time in Dallas and Philly, now coming to Brooklyn, is definitely going to add. I would say Seth Curry may be a bigger asset in a way than Ben Simmons with how he can shoot and what he can add because you have a few good bigs and who can play defense in Brooklyn now with Patty Mills and Blake Griffin and now Ben Simmons, but it's just great. As far as the Philly side, this is only a plus because, you know, Joel Embiid has been playing at an MVP level this season so far, and, adding James Harden to that mix, and, Tyrese, I believe that's his name, has really stepped up at times this season. So that's going to be intriguing to see as well. But it's a plus, really, for both sides, let's say. And then Kristaps Porzingis was acquired by the Washington Wizards, who, I mean, with the unfortunate news the other day that Bradley Beal would suffer season-ending wrist surgery, was sad to see, especially with how Kyle Kuzma has burst for the Wizards as well at the start. But now Beal to miss another season, another rest of the season. It's unfortunate because they did good in spots. But Dallas getting Spencer Didwell and David Burns is a good plus to have on the side. I mean, Porzingis didn't really live up to standards, I would say, for many, being next to Luka, but he did well in spurts. Some games he would score around 30, some games he would score like 20, some games he would score less than 20. And there was a period of games this season where Porzingis scored more than Luka for a period of games. But nonetheless, Porzingis going to Washington, I think can be good for both sides, but we'll have to see. Derek White being picked up by the Celtics, good move. I mean, I think Derek White is a little underrated. A solid pickup for the Celtics going to Boston from San Antonio. Good to see. Montrezl Harrell picked up by the Hornets. I mean, only good for Charlotte. I mean, you have, I mean, you have LaMelo, you have Gordon Hayward, you have Terry Rozier, and Montrezl Harrell. That's a solid four. Credit, I'll say healthy, but that's a solid four to compete in the West or the East, excuse me. But yeah, some big trades escalating at the trade deadline. Also, we may not be done as far as the NBA transactions, as Goran Dragic may potentially be bought out by San Antonio. So, as rumored to have many suitors. So, that's going to be something to look forward to. But yeah, bunch of topics discussing for this episode today, but nonetheless, that's the episode for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode number 87. But solid amount of coverage talked about today. Um, Again, talking about the Super Bowl, NFL honors, UFC 271, etc. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click that like as well as the subscribe. See more Sports OV topics. I'll be back with episode number 88 for Sports OV topics. Now with football over, I'm going to have to dive deeper into some more sports topics, but find stuff to talk about, with the Winter Olympics. Pay more attention to basketball. Hopefully baseball they can find an agreement. Hopefully. But yeah, we'll see. But nonetheless, thank y'all for joining me. I'm Ajoe21love. I'm getting out of here. Be safe. Peace.